Hey, this is Chris with Southern Slot Racing coming to you with a video on the 4-Gear Challenge build for Slot Valley Racing. Now, this video will come out after the challenge has been run. We'll have to have our cars built and to Dan over at Slot Valley Racing by November the 15th. At the time of this recording, it's in 1st of October, 2023. Just to kind of show you what I've got some magnets, I've got some silicone tires, got some shoes, and I've got the deluxe pit kit for the 1970 Chevy Camaro funny car. So let's see if we can't get this build going. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the package here. Now, what's important is if you're new to the hobby, and I'm fairly new to the hobby, this is important for the beginners here. If you get one of these deluxe pit kits, it doesn't matter if it's from Auto World. On the back is some very detailed instructions, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out and save it for later as a great reference point as we get into some of the build and some of the challenges of putting this all together. And if you've never put a race car together, a little slot car, I'd encourage you to get one of these pit kits and build it. It's one thing to get the car off the shelf, bring it home, open it up, run it on the track, but to really understand the mechanics and how all of this works, this is a great opportunity to go ahead and get into how this works, all the mechanical parts, the electrical parts, and just see how it all fits. Plus, it's doing something with your hands. You're not on the phone watching YouTube. Oh, wait, never mind. One thing I like about this pit kit design here, it comes in a nice little, there's two parts here, and you can slide that off if you cut it just right. Now you've got a little parts tray, and that's pretty darn cool right there. So again, we've got our chassis. I'll get the body. Look at here. That's nice. Look at that. That's fantastic, as Dan would say. Got little scuffs there from what was in the package. You got the chutes. You got the little roll bar, scoop, pipes. A lot of great detail. Thinking about maybe go ahead and painting this body up too to give it a little character. And if you're painting one of these, just know that you can scrape the inside in here. These are just kind of hot glued in there and melted, so you can kind of scrape those points, and those will pop right out so you don't have to mask it off. All right, so we got our chassis out. Got our top plate. And got our idler gears here. Now, if you see this gear, I don't know how much you'll be able to see it here, but if we look, you'll see the gears, and the gears are exposed, or ridges are exposed on the bottom, and on the top, you can see it's flat. So that flat flat side goes to the top on the plate. Just like that. You can see it there. And it meshes right in there with the pinion gear. We'll set that off to the side. You'll also notice there's the commutator brushes, and there's the commutator springs and the shoe springs and the shoes. So on this build, I'm going to use from Hardin Creek. I've got some copper shoes instead of this silver, nickel silver plated. I think this gives it a little bit lower profile, and it also gives you a better conductivity. You've got the magnets, and what I've done is I've purchased some Pro 7 magnets from Hardin Creek also. So I'll be using these magnets in the chassis instead of the stock magnets. Alright, I've got my magnets out, and if we look right here on the magnets, you have a red and a white, and here we have a white and a red, and this is another handy dandy thing. Let's look at our documentation here, and it says number 10, that's a magnet. Number 10 is the rear magnet, and it's red, and the front magnet, which should be the white one, and you can see how they go in the chassis. And there's the rear of the chassis, and this is the front, and there's the shoes, the guide pin. So it's saying that the red magnet goes to the rear and the white one goes to the front. So we'll take the red one. Here's our chassis. Let's just stick that in. Alright, we've got the magnets in our chassis. And if we look right here, there's a center hole here in the middle of the chassis. And that's where the armature pedestal or pin will go down in. And then in front and behind that are two holes with, and you can kind of see it in there. Right there. You can see it in there. It equates to this right here on the back. Those two right there, and that's what makes the electrical connections to the shoe pickup shoes. So I'm going to do that off camera, come back after I get the springs and the brushes in, and then that way you don't have to hear me get less than Christian, and as these things are little boogers to put in. Alright, be right back. One thing I did want to point out on these brushes, you can see there's a flat side, and then on the other side there's like a little nipple right there, and that nipple, that's the part you've got to put down into the spring, into the chassis, and the flat side faces up toward the armature. Alright, here we go. Be right back. Okay, now we're back. After those are picky little boogers, you got to stick them down in that hole, the springs, and then the brushes, you got to make sure they get in the least little pressure, and bing, they'll fly off. Shoot off like a little 22 caliber bullet there. So we don't want to show that on TV, all that consternation. So the next, what we're going to do is we're going to put this top plate on right here. And remember, we want that idler gear right there, the flat side up. Okay. And you can see there's our armature. I'll get it right in a minute. And there's a little hook and groove right here that you need to get the front plate in and under. And there we go. And it just clicks right into place. There it is. Then these are handy little tweezers you can pick up at a hobby store or Amazon. There we go. Got our handy dandy little screwdriver. Got some magnet traction there. Okay, you don't have to tighten it, bear down it like it's holding a 747, but you just want it snug in there. Okay. The next thing I'm going to add, well, I'll add it afterwards. Gear fell out. We'll fix that right now. Put our bar on. There we go. You can hear it clip. Probably did that off camera, I'm sorry. But there. And now that's going to keep everything together. And just give your gears a little turn there. Make sure everything turns nice and smooth. Alright. So, let's see. Next thing we're going to do is we can put these shoes on. I mean the front tires. Front tires are just going to be hanging on for dear life. They're not really for traction. And they just slide right on. And one thing I've noticed with these front tires is there's a little ridge, I don't know if we can see it or not, but there's a little ridge, and that's really what the front tires are going to run on, this little ridge. Right there, you can see it right there. So that when you're putting your tires on, make sure you get that little flange rib out to the outside. And I've got some silicone tires that I'm going to put on there for traction on the rear, but I'll put those on toward the end. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the pickup shoes. Well, I'm going to put the guide pin in first. And it's plastic. It's got a little notch there. We're just going to sit it down. And it's going to pop right into place. Maybe not. There it goes. Just a little grease. So you can see the guide pins in. Alright. We'll pause and I'll come right back and we'll get the springs and the pickup shoes out and we'll go over those. Alright, so here we are with the pickup shoes. I've taken the springs out and they're right here, very faint. They're very, very small. But this is the silver nickel plated shoe. And here's the copper shoe that I picked up from Hardin Creek that is suggested for the Auto World four gear model chassis. Let's see if we can get that to work. There we go. If you can notice, the pickup shoe for the Auto World on the left here is a little bit wider, but let's look at the profile. You'll see the step down is a little bit more gradual on the copper one here. So it's going to lower the profile of the car, make it closer to the track, give it a little bit more traction, I think. So we're going to try it, see what happens. So I'm not going to use the standard one. I'm going to go with this copper one here. Now, there's no easy way again for this. This is the frustrating parts here. I'm sorry for my big sausages are in the way. But you'll see the little divot right here. You'll see there's a divot right there. That's where the spring sits. It just sits in there. And then there's a slot right here that this shoe, if you can see, it's got just a little bit of a hook to it. And we'll hook that underneath. All right, I had to cut, I'm sorry. So I've got the spring in there in the divot captured. And now I'm just going to push it right over the front of the post there. But now you can see the low profile of that shoe right there. All right, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to put the other one on, and I'll come right back. All right, here we are with the finished build. This is the 4-gear chassis that I've built for the Slot Valley Racing 4-gear challenge. I'll be shipping this off to Dan so that he can race this, and good luck to everybody, all the other contestants that have entered, and if you've entered a chassis.